25 years ago, two lovely girls in San Carlos, California, were kind enough to perform this following football cheer for me. And in 1984, I used it on an HBO show. I'm passing it along now and would like to point out that it's actually quite useful at sporting events of any kind. In fact, I've found it to be a big crowd pleaser at weddings, baptisms, and first communions as well. Here it is. Chant this in good health. Rat shit, bat shit, dirty old twat, 69 assholes tied in a knot. Hooray! Lizard shit, fuck! Let's go over that again, this time with a few comments. Rat shit, bat shit. How nice to begin with a reference to nature. Dirty old twat. A perfectly normal sports reference as far as I'm concerned. 69 assholes tied in a knot. No, I don't know what that means either. Hooray! There's the cheer part. Lizard shit. Back to nature once again. Fuck! And we end on an uplifting note. Now, here's the happy postscript. About 10 years later, I met a guy named Michael who gave me the second verse to the cheer. I hope those San Carlos girls will hear this and accept it as my way of saying thanks. Eat, bite, fuck, suck, nibble, gobble, chew. Finger fuck, hair pie, dick, cunt, screw. Hooray! Bat fuck, blow me. Let's go over that again. Eat, bite, fuck, suck. Once again, off to an excellent start. Nibble, gobble, chew. I notice verbs are more prominent this time. Finger fuck, hair pie, dick, cunt, screw. More good sports references. Hooray! Can't have a cheer without it. Bat fuck. Truly an interesting thought. Blow me. Once again, ending on an uplifting note. Cheers. Never buy two different garments of the same type at the same time, such as two sports shirts. Inevitably, you will like one better than the other, and you will choose to wear it every time. The second one will always remain second choice, and it will stay in the closet, coming out only occasionally when you hold it in front of you at arm's length and decide not to wear it. Here's how you handle this problem. Exercise a little discipline at the store and buy just one shirt. Then, if you like it, wait a month and buy another. That's it. Next, I'm going to work on nuclear proliferation. Another area of speech that could benefit from a bit more realism would be those announcements that are made just before a boxing match. Ladies and gentlemen, the main event of the evening, 12 rounds of heavyweight boxing. In this corner from Cornhole, Mississippi, weighing 200 pounds and wearing soiled white trunks, an utter and complete loser who is wanted in 6 states for crimes against the animal kingdom. Considered a complete scumbag by his family, he once fucked his sister at a church picnic and forced her to walk home alone. Also, on at least 4 occasions, he has taken out his dick at the circus and waved it at the trapeze lady. Here is Henry Gonzalez. In the other corner, wearing a pair of lame, out-of-style zebra-skin shorts that he found on the street, from Sweatband, Arkansas, an unattractive and disturbed young man who by court order is not permitted to be alone for more than 2 minutes at a time. In and out of 16 mental institutions over the years, he is a dangerous sociopath who once killed a nun for blocking his view. He has been legally barred from more than 1,500 bars in the New York City area alone, and recently, while visiting a supermarket, he forced a fat woman to blow him in the meat section. Here is Matty Murphy. The fighters move out to the center of the ring to have the boxing rules recited to them. All right, boys, you know the rules. No biting, scratching, clawing, or tripping. No yanking dicks. No grabbing the other guy's testicles and snapping them up and down. No using a small screwdriver to punch holes in the other guy's neck during clinches. And if you're going to call the other guy's mother a diseased $2 whore, please, in the interest of accuracy, use her full name. When taking leave of one another, we often say, "Be well." Perhaps we should be more precise and a bit more practical. Reasonably, we can't expect everyone to be healthy all the time. Good wishes should be more realistic. I hope you remain reasonably healthy during the next 18 months or so, and if you have a stroke, I hope it only paralyzes you on one side, leaving you free to take phone calls. I think people would appreciate such thoughtfulness and precision. We Americans love our prepositional phrases. Out of sight, off the charts, in the groove, on the ball, up the creek, down the tubes, in the dumper, out the yin-yang, off the wall, round the bend, below the belt, under the weather, and of course, under the table. But rather than under the table, let us begin on the table. That's a phrase you hear a lot in the news, especially from Washington. In negotiations of any kind, certain things are said to be on the table, implying, of course, that other things are off the table. And sometimes, regardless of what's on the table, a settlement is reached under the table. The table seems important. If a person is highly qualified, we say he brings a lot to the table. Unfortunately, those who bring a lot to the table often have too much on their plates. Still, they're guaranteed a seat at the table because they think outside the box, which puts them ahead of the curve. Now, if the negotiators agree on what's on the table, then they're on the same page. Personally, I don't like people on my page. If someone says to me, "We're on the same page," I say, "Do me a favor, please, turn the page. I'd rather not be on that page. In fact, I'd rather be in a completely different book." But that's beside the point. I've wandered off the track. Returning to negotiations, if the sides are getting close, we're told they're in the ballpark. This often comes from people in the know, speaking off the record. And in Washington, many in the know are also in the loop, because after all they work inside the Beltway. Now, there are other government people outside the Beltway who nonetheless remain in the know and in the loop. They function in foreign countries, and we say they're on the ground. If they're CIA, they're under the radar and paid off the books. Much of what they learn is picked up on the street. But they don't always need to be on the street, because a lot of information comes in over the transom. Putting aside government for the moment, I wonder if you're aware that a completely different group of people has recently emerged in America. They're not on the ground, and they're not on the street. You know where they are? They're in the house. Apparently they never went out. And there must be a lot of them, because you hear it all the time. He's in the house. And if I may broach a delicate subject here, some of these people who are in the house are also in the closet. Fortunately for them, if they somehow manage to get out of the closet, they'll still be in the house. That is, they will be until they've left the building. How often these days we hear that someone has left the building? And I'm sure you've noticed it's mostly show business people who leave buildings, the accepted belief being that Elvis was the first to master this maneuver, although you can also find Beatles fans who will argue that the Fab Four were known to have left several buildings as well, thereby accomplishing what would have been the first multi-star building departures. Unfortunately, at the time, no one realized the significance of what the Beatles were doing. Now, there are no doubt those among you who are seething, because "has left the building" is not a prepositional phrase. I grant that, but you'd have to agree that nonetheless it fits here very nicely. Because, after all, only people who are in the house can leave the building. But alas, it's impossible to leave the building if you're still in the closet. In fact, you can't even get to the front door. However, let's say everything breaks your way, and somehow you manage to leave the building. Guess where you'll be? Right, back on the street, with the CIA. So you better be on your toes, because the CIA will get on your case, and they'll be in your face. Who knows, they might even go upside your head. I'm sorry, folks. This is really getting off the wall, so let's return to where this whole thing began, under the table, where those shady deals are made. And isn't it interesting that under the table is similar to under the counter, where illegal products are sold? Under the counter, as opposed, of course, to over the counter, which describes a drug that does not require a prescription. But when you think about it, even drugs that require a prescription are sold over the counter. I mean, the pharmacist doesn't somehow give them to you underneath the counter. You don't get them by going around behind the counter. What happens is you stand at the counter, pay the man, and he hands them to you across the counter. Or he sets them down on the counter, and you pick them up off the counter. Or if you want, you can completely eliminate the counter by having the drugs delivered to your home, provided, of course, that at the time you're in the house. Well, folks, it turns out that one of the phrases I used at the beginning of this piece was more appropriate than I suspected at the time. It's clear to me now that in the dumper is exactly where this piece has wound up. So that's it. I'm out the door.